Finally, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya elections will go on today after dragging for almost 8 months. The exercise was stopped by a court order in May, and it was not until the order was lifted 2 months ago the preparations began for a new one. But even today's exercise is not without controversy. 5 associations: Kenya Taekwondo Federation, Kenya Cycling Federation, Kenya Weightlifting, Badminton, and as well as Kenya Rowing and Canoe Association are unlikely to take part in the process. Now, the poll will be handled by the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. Now, we're now going to link up with our reporter on the ground, that is Moses Wahisi, who has been following for us this story. Now, Moses, good morning. We've seen court battles, court orders stopping the elections there for the last 8 months. Have the Federation put their house in order now?
Yeah, so Yusuf, as you said, the federations were supposed to put their house in order before today's exercise, but that is something we're going to know because before the election process actually begins, that is the actual voting, we're going to see if those federations, the 5 federations that you've said that have issues in court and also at the Sports Dispute Tribunal would have sorted out their issues. So that is still uncertain because this process is shouldered with a lot of uncertainty as of yet, but we're going to have a general elective assembly before going on to the voting process. I know a lot is expected from this process because you have different federations, actually 23 who will be voting, but that is before actually going and sitting down talking, and if all of them will be allowed to vote, it is just a matter of time, and we are going to know more about that. Yes, we've talked about the Center of Multi-Party Democracy. That is the body that will be conducting this elective process, and now I'm joined by the chairman himself, who will be seeing this process through. That is Bwana Omweri Angima. Very great to have joined us. Probably just give us an overview. What kind of an exercise do we expect today?
Remember, we had this exercise. It ought to have taken place on 5th May. But we got a court injunction from some federations which had issues, and so we had to postpone. So basically, we are actually going to complete what we started. The majority of the federations have no issues. There are a few that have issues, and these ones, we will be updated by some of them. We also are aware of some of them, where the progress, but we want to get full reports, which will be tabled before the Assembly, General Assembly, so that everything will be trashed before we complete the election. We are completing the election. We are not starting a new election. We want to complete what we started actually early this year. May was supposed to be a culmination. It was actually supposed to be the voting day, which didn't happen. Yes.
You're talking about completing the process, and yes, I'm aware that there are some people who actually took the nomination forms at the period that you have given, and they returned the forms on a 22nd. And some of them, they're also here and they are saying that we also want to be part of this process. Will we agree that this is a continuation, or some people are arguing that this is another process that is starting all over again?
Some things changed since May. Some candidates may have dropped out. Some minor changes. In fact, only 3 picked forms by 22nd. So qualitatively, nothing changes because these are the ones who are filling in. Maybe somebody is not going to be available. And there was a general meeting an extraordinary general meeting by the General Assembly, which actually allowed others to join. And I believe they have that power. So we allowed. And we allowed only 3. 3 of them. Those are the ones we gave the forms.
Have they been allowed, or is it after the elective General Assembly, before the voting process begins today, that we're going to see those deliberations and a decision made? And that is from the meeting that the elective agents had on 5th September. They passed that through. And on your meeting on 22nd, again, Irene Tindi was categorical, stating that the decision is going to be made today at this same elective General Assembly.
True. It is the General Assembly which will make that decision. We are facilitating. because they said that these others should also be allowed. We could not prevent them from having the forms. But the final decision will have to be made here by the General Assembly, whether to include them or not. If they don't include them, we will not entertain them. We will just go on with the ones we have. If they do, I believe we will just go ahead with them, because basically it is because of new developments that these ones have also been included. Yeah.
Yes, he is Omweri Ngima, who is the chairman for the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. He will be a very busy man today because he is a person who is in charge of the election process that will be taking the center stage in matters to do with the National Olympics today. And just to give you an overview of who I've already got to this point, I've been able to see some of the people who will be vying for this process. Remember, the top seat, that's the presidency for the National Olympics Committee, is being vied by Paul Tergat. Remember, Paul Tergat has been in the world of athletics for quite a number of years. Yes, five-time world cross-country champion, also a world cross-country record holder. He will be having a competitive sphere today altogether, not on the road, but in matters to do with the ballot. And his competitor is Patrick Muya. Remember, Patrick Muya is a man who has been in charge of the Swimming Federation, and for him, he came in after Ben Ekumbo was actually arrested. Remember the Rio 2016 fiasco. Ben Ekumbo among the guys who were arrested, and yes, he resigned, and now he's saying I'm paving way for a new leadership in matters to do with swimming. So those are the two top guns who will be going for the high seat in matters to do with the National Olympics. But remember, for Patrick Muya, it is if he will be cleared today by the elective General Assembly that will be starting a few minutes from now. If he will be cleared, because for him, he took the nominations papers after May 5th and returned them on 22nd of this month. So for him, he is still not sure if he will be among the guys who will be vying for that top seat. Remember also, we have the different vice presidency seats. We have the second vice presidency seat, which has attracted the Volleyball Federation chairman. That is a very, very competitive, actually, seat, because he will be going on head-on against Jackson Tuwe, who is the athletics boss. So there is a lot that will be happening. We have different categories of votes. We have the Secretary General. We remember when we talk about the Secretary General, FK Paul, the incumbent, is saying that I want to defend my seat. So again, he will be on the ballot. But for him, Andrew Mudipo on the other side is saying that, yes, I'm also a man who can take this mantle. And he's also very, very optimistic to go all the way. Talking about the incumbents, we also have Stephen Arap. So remember, he has been on the limelight, not for the best of reasons. He has been the treasurer for the National Olympics Committee. But today, again, he's saying, I wanted to go all out there and be able to, again, defend this seat. But he'll be going head on against the likes of Elena Shiveka. We know Elena Shiveka from hockey. Also, we have Anne Njambi from badminton, and also Eliud Karaoke of wrestling, who are going and saying we want actually to go all out and try to get this treasury seat, a very, very crucial seat because it deals with matters to do with the cash. So there is a lot that is happening here. Behind me, if my senior cameraman can be able to show us, that is Rashid. I'm just seeing some very, very minimum movements, because that is the venue where the electoral process will be held. So a lot will be happening here today, but we are here. We are going to be keeping you up to date and actually tell you what happens when they happen. We're talking about the different guys who will be vying. We've mentioned the second vice chair, that is Kioni will be up in that. We're also talking about the Secretary General seat. We're also talking about the Deputy Secretary General, where we have Richard Chacha, the incumbent, also saying that they want to go out there and be able to bag that seat. The man you're seeing walking on the far end is Kipchoge Keino. Talk about Kipchoge Keino. A lot of people were waiting to see if he would be contesting. They are just having a photo moment there. You'll see Kipchoge Keino, who is the former president, outgoing, if I may call him, and also the next gentleman who is with him, that is FK Paul. Paul, who is also saying, I want to defend my seat. So there is a lot that will be happening here at the Panari Hotel during this elective process, and we'll be telling you what happens when they happen. And we just hope that we won't get another court injunction and be able to stop this event. In May 5th, it was the Taekwondo Federation that went out with a court order, but this time out, we don't have a court order as of yet, but anything can happen because on the elective day on May 5th, it is when we got that court injunction that stopped that process. But today, we're still confident. The Electoral Body Center for Multi-Party Democracy is still confident that things will flow smoothly and we won't have any issues. Back to you, Yusuf.
Of course, Wahisi, you're also confident you're going to bring us those results once they are announced. One final question. This is a body or a committee that has faced, several or various corruption incidences, case in point after the Rio Olympics. Will that have a bearing on the choice of the next batch of leaders? And talk us through about the IOC, that is the International Olympic Committee. Have they sent their observers?
Yeah, you're talking about the Olympics Committee, Yusuf, and yes, I can tell you for free that the Olympics Committee will be looking at this process with keen interest. Remember, the Olympics Committee has been telling Kenyans that you need to put your house in order. Kenya has not been receiving any money from the International Olympics Committee for several months now, and that is after the botched elections that we had on May 5th. Different bodies, different federations have been saying that this process has been, the build-up for this process has not been conducted in the right way. Now, talking about the right way, and then we talk about IOC. IOC today, the president himself, Thomas Bach, has sent the former head of South African Olympics Committee, that is Sam Ramsey, to oversee this process. And when I talk about Sam Ramsey, actually, I'm just seeing him walking to this place. He has been sent by Thomas Bach himself to come in the country and be able to see how this elective process will be conducted. So that tells you that there is a lot of interest in regards to this process that will be conducted today. So talking about the different federations with their issues, we are very, very confident that we won't see any of the federations actually coming with a court injunction because, again, it will be taking this process back to square one.
Thanks, Wahisi, for that comprehensive update. That was, of course, Moses Wahisi coming to us all the way from Panari Hotel, and that is where the National Olympic Committee of Kenya are expected to hold their election 8 months after they postponed that election because of, numerous court battles and court orders. And, of course, that report by Wahisi takes us to a very short break, but when we come back,